let's talk about how I'm setting my photography prices to get clients, get paid fairly, and to live off my photography. I have been a freelance photographer for about 5 years now, and I have made a ton of mistakes when it comes to my photography pricing. And today I want to share all my knowledge with you so you can set your rates properly and not make the same mistakes that I made. I structured this video into 3 parts for you. So the first part is going to be me talking about all the mistakes that I've made when it comes to my pricing and how you can avoid those. The second part is talking about the strategy that actually helped me to figure out what the right prices are for me and my niche. And in the third part, I'm going to be showing you examples from my current pricing. So showing you my exact prices and my packages, so maybe you can get some inspiration from that. But now let's dive right in and talk about part 1, the photography pricing mistakes that I made. So mistake number 1 that I made is setting an hourly rate. And I see a lot of people who are starting out in photography doing that exact same mistake as I did. So the problem with setting an hourly rate is it doesn't really account for all the time you spend working on a client shoot. And while it may make sense in some niches, such as event photography, where you go there, you shoot, and then you deliver most of the photos directly to the client, it doesn't make sense in a lot of other photography niches, because the time you are spending with the client or shooting for the client is not the time that you are actually spending on the client. Let me explain. So in my case, I usually sell packages that involve me shooting with the client for about 3 to 4 hours because I'm doing personal branding or headshot photography. But actually, when I started adding up all the time that I spent per client, per shoot, I figured out that it takes me anywhere from 15 hours to 19 hours to work on a photo shoot. So that time includes actually acquiring the customer. That could be answering email requests or phone requests by potential clients, then actually doing some kind of an onboarding call where you figure out what exactly they need and how you're going to structure the shoot. Then I spend some time in pre-production. So I actually have to organize my gear, I have to organize my assistant, book the studio, then prepare a mood board for the client, and also go back and forth with them about outfits and everything that involves the preparation for the shoot. Then there is the day of the shoot where I need to get on location and set up the studio with my assistant. So that's time that I'm spending not with the client, but for the client. Then there's the actual shoot, and then I have to pack up the studio, pack up the gear, maybe go back to the rental and give back some of the gear. And then, as most of you know, one of the biggest time sucks begins, and that's post-production. I usually spend a lot of time in post-production because I shoot a lot. So I have to cut down the amount of images that I have into smaller and smaller packages, basically. And then I develop a personal look for each client, no presets, and I do some light adjustments and retouching, and then I create a whole gallery for my client to send it over to them so they can pick their favorites. After they've picked their favorites, I then do my actual retouching on the final images. So overall, the whole process takes me somewhere between 15 to 19 hours that I spend on a client. So when calculating my prices, and when you are calculating your prices, we need to account for that entire time, not just the time you are spending shooting with the client. The second mistake I made is to look at my equipment as a personal expense and not a business expense. Let's break that down. So whenever you buy equipment, let's say a camera, a lens, or lights, that is you investing in your business. And you have to get that investment back from each and every single photo shoot. So that means you have to price in the price of your gear into each and every single photo shoot that you do. But the price of gear doesn't have to ruin your business. And that is the exact reason why I'm partnering with MPB on this video, and they're sponsoring the segment. MPB is an online platform that sells and buys used photography gear. It is the perfect place for photographers who want to upgrade their equipment but don't want to pay the enormous prices of new photography gear. You can easily search the platform for any piece of equipment that you're looking for, and you can be sure that each and every single camera, lens, or light that is sold through MPB has been vetted and tested by one of their experts. But moreover, MPB also buys used photography gear from you. All you have to do is to go on the sell or trade section, and you can type in whatever gear you're trying to sell, and you can easily get a quote from MPB that tells you what you might expect to get for your gear. Buying your photography gear used is cheaper, it's more sustainable, and it's also sustainable in a business sense because you're not overspending and not overextending yourself. And whatever you spend on your gear, remember to add it to your prices so you can get a return on your investment very quickly from your shoot. I'll add a link to the platform down below in the description for you, so go and check out MPB, and thank you to them for sponsoring this segment of the video. Now on to the third pricing mistake that I made, and that is not accounting for usage rights or licensing. I'm always very surprised how many experienced photographers don't really know about usage rights or licensing, but especially beginner photographers like I was 5 years ago don't really have a clue about usage rights and licensing and what that means. So they're charging actually only hourly, but giving away the rights to their photography for free. So this is how I like to explain it to people. Whenever you're selling photography, you're not actually selling your time or the service, but you are actually selling the rights of usage to the photos that you have been making. And there is a variety of usage rights that you can give out as a photographer. It could be the right to use the photo online, for social media, for a website. It could be a right to use the photo in print and for PR purposes. It could be a right to give the photo to other parties so they can put it on their websites, on their press releases, on their posters. It could be a usage right to put the photo in an ad and make advertisement with it. It could be a usage rights to put it on the cover of a film, to put it on the cover of a book, to blow it up into a massive billboard. And all of these licenses and rights are priced differently. Now, if you're working with private customers, let's say you're shooting couples or weddings or baby photos, usually you're not really selling any extended usage rights or licenses because people will just use the photos for themselves. But if you're a photographer working with B2B clients, so companies, or you're working with actors who do publicity and press, then you'll have to think about usage rights and price your shoots accordingly. So if you're not using usage rights or licenses yet, and you are working with those types of customers, you're actually missing out on some revenue and you're definitely undercharging. All right, now that you have your actual time cost and you have your equipment costs and you have a bit of an idea of your license rights and usage rights, now let's dive into part 2 and the actual strategies that I used and that you can use to figure out the prices in your photography niche. But before I jump into the strategies, if you have been getting some value from this video so far, please consider giving it a little like and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this one. So the very first strategy that helped me figure out the prices in my niche is to do a competitor analysis. If you now think it's like too businessy and too complicated, I get you, and it doesn't really have to be that complicated. It can be super, super easy. So for me, because I'm already active on social media, like I'm on Instagram, I was already aware of like 2 to 3 competitors in Berlin who do the same as me, and that is headshot photography. I'm also, as it happens to be, friends with some actors because I'm working as an actor's headshot photographer. So if I had already kind of a friendly bond with my competing photographer, I would just message them and say, hey, can I just ask you, what do you charge for your headshot? And I would also ask the actors that I knew if they had shot with this photographer, and you can usually see it with the credit on their Instagram, which photographer they have been working with, I asked them straight up, like, what did you pay for your headshots with this photographer? And by talking to several photographers and several actors who are all part of this niche, I got a pretty good idea of what people are charging and what people are ready to pay. So I definitely knew that I don't want to be undercutting my competitors, because that would be bad for me and also for them. We don't want to be ruining each other's prices by undercutting. But I'm not just working as a headshot photographer, I'm also working in the personal branding niche. People in that niche are very active on LinkedIn. Again, because I'm active in that niche, I was aware of some photographers who do personal branding. But if I hadn't been aware, I would just basically Google personal branding photographers in my city, which is Berlin. And what I did then is to simply go onto their website and search for their pricing, search for the packages that they're offering. And the cool thing about that is you're not only going to learn about their pricing, but you're also going to learn about how they package their shoots. Like, what are they including? How long is a shoot? What are the add-ons that they're offering? What kind of licenses and usage rights are they giving out? And all of those details that are super helpful to craft your own packages. And you will also see exactly like how their website works, how can you book with them, what is their marketing and communication strategy. All of those little clues can help you again in your business. So once you've completed your competitor analysis and you have a bit of an idea of where you could situate yourself, the next tip is to do a basic business calculation. So the basic business calculation goes a little bit like this. How much do you need to earn per month to survive and to pay all your business expenses? And how many shoots does it take to reach that amount? So for me in my business, it takes about 2 to 3 medium to large sized shoots to help me cover all my expenses, my living expenses and my business expenses. But you could definitely go a bit more in depth with this by calculating how many weeks can you work in a year, how many hours can you work in a week, what would be the ideal size of your customer, what would be the ideal number of customers that you have per month, what other activities do you need to do in your business, like admin, like marketing, like all of the other stuff, and then break it down from there. But the very basic formula is, how much do I need to earn per month and how many clients does it take me to earn that? So how much do I need to earn per client? So the next strategy that helped me with my prices is actually to go outside of my comfort zone and test prices. So by now you've got a good ballpark idea, but the next step is actually to get comfortable with those prices, to talk to people on the phone and actually state those prices and see their reaction and stay firm and not budge, and also learn how to sell those prices. Explain like what goes into a shoot and why is that price the right price with you. And another strategy that I'm using is to actually, on the contact form on my website, when people write to me, I ask them upfront for their budget. So no matter if it works out with that potential customer, I get a sample size basically of what people's budgets look like and what they're looking for when they come to me. So that way you are kind of creating a feedback loop between you, your potential customers, or you could say the market, and learn about your pricing strategy and if it actually works in the real world. But sometimes you think it's not going to work, but by staying firm and going outside of your comfort zone, you will realize that people's tolerance for prices is actually sometimes higher than you thought. And that's a great segue into the next part, and that is my current pricing and my packages. Let's have a look at them. But before we do, a quick disclaimer for you. When looking at my packages and pricing, keep in mind my specific niche, which is headshot photography for actors and also business photography for business clients. Then my location, I am in Germany and in the capital city of Berlin. And please also keep in mind that the prices that you will see represent revenue and not my take-home pay. So out of those prices, I usually have to pay equipment, a studio, my assistant, and a bunch of other monthly expenses that get deducted before my take-home pay. Oh, and let's not forget about taxes, right? So here we are in the PDF that I am usually sending out to clients when they request a business shoot with me. So this is for personal branding and business shoots, and this is not for my actor headshot. I have a separate PDF for that. And this is also for the year 2024. We are now moving into 2025, so most likely I'll be updating my packages and pricing during the year at some point. And also, as I told you, like test and trial, we're always like changing things and looping back with the market of what works and what doesn't work. So here we have the smallest package that I currently offer, and that's a small business portrait. It's a 1-hour session. You can see everything that's included, the length of the session. It's like 1 outfit, 1 look, 3 high-resolution images, the usage rights that are included in this, and I have like a little differentiation between shooting on location, so I'm just going to the client with my gear, with my camera, or we're actually shooting in the studio, which is pricier for me because I not only pay the studio rent, but I also work with an assistant that I have to pay in the studio. And then I list the amount of images that they get in the gallery, and also that it's professionally edited and retouched. Because keep in mind, not every photographer does retouching as well, but I do, so my prices also reflect that. Here's the second package that I'm offering. It's a medium package. So it's double the length of the session, different amount of looks, and so on. You can pause the video and look at it in depth if you want to, but I'll kind of move through this quickly. Also, keep in mind the prices are excluding the VAT, so you have to add that on top. That usually makes sense in a B2B photography setup. So this is currently my large branding package. That's for clients who want to basically rebrand their entire website. So they want all new images for their website, and also that one includes some press usage rights. The other 2 smaller packages did not include any press usage rights, but customers can acquire those additionally. The next package that I offer is for teams. So this is for small companies, basically, usually startups or some creative agencies. So this includes shooting multiple people. And then I have a content package that is specifically aimed at people who are active on LinkedIn, kind of LinkedIn influencers, and they need a ton of materials, so a lot of images, but they don't need extended usage rights because they only want to use those images for their socials and LinkedIn. So these are the current packages that I'm offering in terms of branding and business photography. For my headshot photography, I have some pricing info on my website. I'll also link that for you down below if you want to go and check out how I structure my packages on there. And if you have any more questions on the topic, please drop them in the comments down below and I'll be happy to answer each and every one of you. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one that I'll link up here, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.